Aloha and welcome to Manifesting Our Dream Reality live stream interview series. I'm Butterfly Brielle, and today I'm joined by my amazing client, friend, and sound wizard, Paul Temple. Paul Temple is one of the first clients that I brought into my business many, many years ago. I think that was 2015, 2016. And it's just been a really beautiful journey coming back together in 2020. Wonderful. Paul, I'm so grateful to have you on today. And I'm so thankful that you're going to be joining me for this journey into manifesting our dream reality. Paul will be coming on for week 2 of the Manifesting Our Dream Reality series, the sacred sound frequencies to unlock vitality. And he is such a sound wizard. I'm just really grateful. We'll be getting a little bit of sound medicine from him today as well. Paul, how you doing today? What's going on?
Greetings. Happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me to be part of both this event here as well as part of your Manifesting Our Dream Reality series. It sounds very exciting. And I'm happy to be here and answer your questions and see what we can do to awaken in the dream, make the dream real. We are the dream weavers.
Yeah, it was really
the
beautiful.
web dreamers.
Yeah, we are. I was really inspired by my first interview so far in this series with Lee the other day. What I found was that we actually had a lot of interesting synchronicities that kind of tied into dreams and manifestation. And one of the big things that was magical for me was hearing about his dream for now and also about kind of where his dreams have been. So I'm going to ask you a few questions pertaining to dreams and pertaining to sound. And, there's no wrong answers here. It's all just inflow and working with the magic and the manifestation energies of the present moment. And that's really why I love doing these live streams is it's sometimes really interesting what comes through. It was beautiful having you on this week for Wisdom Wednesdays with Anastara Maka.
Yeah, that was wonderful.
And I really loved watching how she just was kind of flowing with your sound. And it was just a really special thing to see kind of you guys coming together. And that's what manifestation media is all about. We're all about bringing people together to have experiences and to, get into this magical, resonant, harmonic field of where all possibilities and dreams are possible and things can be birthed from that creative space. So my first question for you today, Paul, is what is the number one way that you use sound to unlock a greater sense of vitality in your life?
Ooh. Wow. Being a musician, that's, my life has been motivated and guided through sound and vibration. But it's funny because when you ask that question, my first response is the way vitality. So I think of vitality as physical vitality, as well as spiritual vitality. But I love to dance, and I remember I wrote a piece of music when I used to write electronic dance music, and I produced a piece that had the lines, "When we dance, we are moving our bodies to the flow of vibration that we call music." Because in Western culture we have music, and there's country music, and there's electronic music, and there's folk music, but really on a larger level, that music is vibration. And when we dance, we are actually allowing ourselves to flow to that vibrational wisdom because it is encoded. Sound and music are all encoded. And it's so as we're doing that smaller dance, moving our bodies to music, we are actually allowing our beings to come into flow with the larger vibrational, the music of the universe, the music of the spheres, the turning of the planets and the galaxies. So dance is a really important part of my life. It's something I've kind of missed with COVID is going to, I used to go out to ecstatic dances at least twice a week. And now I dance here in the yoga barn and turn on the music. But so that's, and then there's a whole other topic of just the wisdom and the science and the mysticism of vibration and music, which I think we're going to talk about more as we get into our conversation here.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love hearing about your connection to dance, and the magic of dance is such a big part of my life and my journey, specifically electronic dance music. My first few roles working in music and entertainment were promoting electronic shows. And when I first moved to Colorado in fall of 2011, I lived in the dorms, and like my housing was kind of part of my schooling. I went to Johnson and Wales here in Denver. And so we're both Colorado, natives for now, I guess is what I should call it. I'm definitely an adventurer. And that's part of what I love about music is I find that music kind of, even if I can't go somewhere and go on an adventure, I feel like I can be really transported and go on this journey and this kind of adventure space within sound. And when I'm feeling that kind of cabin fever, like I got to move some energy, I need to like kind of move the stagnation within my experience, I find that dance is a really powerful portal for kind of taking me from whatever energy space I'm in and moving me into the dream reality of, where I can be. And usually it's at a higher frequency, at a higher vibration, and really cultivating that inner joy. And my experience is that when I cultivate joy, I feel so much better. My physical body, my vitality kind of, it soars. Yes. So thank you so much for sharing that, because
yeah, and that just reminds me of a sort of a quick point about sound and vibration in the macro sphere, that I've always been interested in what is the new cutting edge in the music world. A lot of my friends growing up in the 60s and 70s, as we got older, they're still listening to music from the 60s and 70s because you get kind of locked into a particular vibrational level. But to me, particularly over the last 10 years or so, electronic dance music has been, those musicians are listening to what's happening now in the sort of sound field, the sound stream, the mystical sound stream. So that's bringing in the new messaging. Whereas in the 60s, amazing music happened in the 60s, and it was bringing in this incredible message, on a macro collective level. But, the EDM was moving into a much more transcendental, expansive space. And so I love electronic dance music. It's very powerful how it works with the energy body. So.
I love your, it's not a name I'm sure you're using very much anymore, but mantra matrix. I really love this harmony between the electronic and this mantra, and bringing in this kind of yogic, I call it yogic electronic music.
Right.
And that's actually, I think that's going to pop up again for us as we keep talking. I'm sure you'll share a little bit more about the kind of yogic lineage of a lot of what you're creating.
Yeah.
But I want to stay in flow, and I'm asking a lot of the presenters some of the same questions to create this kind of cohesion and kind of open up you to things that you might not normally think about or talk about in a regular live stream interview. And what came through in the last one when I asked this question was really interesting. So I'm kind of excited to see kind of where these go and where these questions journey us over the course of the series. But my number two question is, what is your number one childhood dream? And it can be, a dream that you actually had, or it can be just like a visioning that you're, something that you were wanting. I know for me, when I was a young girl, I had this, I remember trying to get my brother to play school with me. And so I think I had this vision of being a teacher. That was a dream that I had. And of course, now I'm kind of graduating into some sort of, coach and teacher. It's hard for me to, share space with some of the people that we have coming on. They're so advanced on their path. And I really think of them as like my teachers. I think of you as a teacher. And I even think of you as a potential music teacher, because you play the flute and I played the flute when I was in middle school. And so I really connect to the fact that you play flute, but also your yogic. I think of you as just kind of this master teacher of many things. And I'm really inspired by what you teach. So I want to know what your dream was when you were, younger.
Well, thank you. I am grateful for the recognition, and try to take that all humbly. And but again, as you ask the question, the dream that comes through has a larger context. So I first should speak of, I am always humbled by my teachers, and when people offer me the recognition of some kind of mastery, I go back to the people who have been my teachers, and I'm nowhere near the level of voltage and connection that they are. And I'm speaking particularly of, here she comes. My teacher is a woman, a Native American woman named Diani Oahu, who lives high in the mountains of Vermont. And she has been my teacher for over 30 years. She's an amazing, just galactic being incarnate in a human body. She's also recognized as a Dharma teacher in both the Nyingma and Kagyu lineages of Tibetan Buddhism. She introduced me to the Dharma, which is a big part of my life. And so on one level, Dahani is a dream walker. That's just part of her teachings. And particularly when I was deeply involved in her work, which I was for many years in the 1970s and 80s, we would meet in the dream, and she would call us in the dream. And I remember there was this particular circle that would meet in the dream. And she still appears to me in the dream quite regularly, because that's just part of, in indigenous cultures, being a dream walker is part of their normal understanding of the mystical teachers. But I bring that back to my childhood, because I remember very clearly having a dream as a child of, I was up in a tree house that was on the land where I lived, that my father and my older brother had built. And this is the dream, that I was up in this tree house, and all of a sudden this thing is, and I don't know that I knew at the time what it was, but it was like one of those big cameras that comes up at the planetarium, that shows the stars. This big multi-lensed thing kind of appeared, and this woman kind of came out and said, "Which dream are you going to choose?" And I go, "Well, I don't know." And that's really all I remember from the dream. And this was probably 10, 15 years before I met Dahani. But that already the web of our weaving and of our supporting each other and of our mystical union was already being woven. Because she wasn't that much older than I am. She's probably 10 years older than I am. So, at the time, she was probably just coming into her power. If I was 10, she would have been 20. So, but anyways, it was, that's, as you move into the mystery, the dreams that we have unconsciously and this dream that we are creating and weaving are very much connected. And that was part of her teachings, is that we are creating this dream on earth right now. And our actions and our thoughts and our words are much, much more powerful than we are taught to understand in Western culture. So we are the dream weavers. We are the web dreamers. We are weaving this web.
Incredible. I love, love, love that story. I love hearing about one of your first teachers, and that connection just feels so resonant. And it's almost like her spirit is kind of here with us now. Um, and I also really like the idea of you're being asked to choose which dream. It's this kind of, hey, there's so much to spend this life doing. And that's a big part of this series, is actually helping to come into center and to really kind of ground into what is the most real dream for us in this life. There's For me, my Chinese astrology is a water monkey, and if you know anything about monkeys, they're kind of all over the place. They're kind of this monkey, monkey mind is what we get, accused of having monkey mind. And I think that for me, what I've had is just so many passions in my life. I love photography, and I love music, and I love to dance, and I love to swim. I mean, I really do. I'm like, that's why I'm always resonating with the rainbow. It's because I really do have a rainbow of possibilities, and I enjoy that about life. However, I do truly feel that everybody comes to Earth for a sacred mission and for a life purpose and a higher calling. And so part of this series, the intention is to help people to kind of center and ground into a space where they are able to choose which dream they want and which path they want to take. And so it can be a very powerful experience to waking up to what it is that is ours to do in this world. So thank you so much for sharing that. That's really special and powerful, and I think really a great pretense and premise to the work we're going to be doing. Question number 3 is, what is your number one dream for 2020 wonderful? Here we are in this magical time, and it's a powerful time to be creating and planting seeds for what we're trying to manifest here on Earth. And so I'd love to hear a little bit more about what you're wanting to create, or what dreams have been kind of present with you here and now.
Well, yes, here we are on the cusp of a new year. I feel like we've just come out of a very critical juncture of, choosing light over dark in humanity, and I don't want to get into politics, so I won't. But it's funny for me because I realize that every time I've done visioning, and I have vision work that I've done going back, 30 years now, that what we think is sort of, oh, this is what I want. I've actually been tapping into a dream that already exists in the Akashic plan, so that it's a time where guidance begins to plant those seeds of, okay, this is how you can go. I've, over the last 3 years, been working with this diamond light work, which we call it the Diamond Light Network, which is teachings about the heart and the awakening of the heart as a potential dream for humanity, to remember, particularly in Western culture, to remember the power of our hearts, which is much, much more than we're taught in Western culture. So these practices, these teachings have been coming through. And my feeling is that 2021 is going to be a time where these teachings will begin to spread and have more reach and touch more people's hearts, so more people can begin to remember the power of their hearts. And that the sound transmissions that I offer with the Vajrayana chanting and the bowls that are behind me here will begin to reach out to more people and touch more people and help people remember that we are the dreamers. We are awakening this dream, and we have much more power with our voice, with our hearts, with our energies and our creative abilities than we are taught to understand. and that there really is this new awakening possibility happening. And you and me are all part of it. Yeah.
We are the ones we've been waiting for, is the quote or saying that comes to mind as you share that. And it's really empowering to be on the planet at this time. For me, it makes me feel like I must be stronger than I even imagine. And a wise man once said to me, if you had any idea of your true brilliance, you would bow at your own feet. And it really resonated with me and reminded me of this reality that I'm so much more than I can even wrap my own mind around. And so finding ways to actually step out of my mind and into, a more quantum space is one of my favorite things. I feel sound and vibration and chanting and mantra really can help to unlock and do. So I'm excited to get into the sound soon, but I'm going to ask you a couple more questions, and then we'll move on, and we'll have a moment at the end where I can direct people to. I want to make sure to give you a chance to share about everything that you have that's exciting and coming up, because I know you have so much on your plate and your radar, and you're really showing. I want to also thank you so much for showing up so regularly to do these sound transmissions, because I just feel that there's such a gift to the planet at this time.
Thank you.
And I just, I commend you so much for the work you're doing. So, okay. So the next
and kudos back to you too.
Yay. Rock star time. So the next question is, what are your favorite tools for expanding health and consciousness? And obviously I know sound is one of them, but I'm curious if you have any other favorite tools that you like to kind of have in your toolkit for expanding the mind, or, embodying a greater sense of health and wellness in your life.
Wow. I mean, yes, the that I drop into every now and then quite regularly, that just keeps me connected. And there have been, I'm sitting in a pyramid here. The teachings that have come through about the diamond light, and which involves the geometry of double tetrahedrons, those practices have been very strong for me just in maintaining my own heart light center. I am also very blessed to have spent the last 35 years with a yoga teacher. So I am both willingly and disciplined into doing yoga at least twice a week, which has just really kept my body kind of fluid and flexible and energy moving, and just dropping into a deep yogic space. That's been a great blessing for me to keep my vitality. Dancing, as we said before, also keeps my body flowing. And the teachings that I've received from Dhyani Oahu that just really kind of got me out of Western mind into a more indigenous worldview have made me helped transform the addictions of Western culture that, I used to drink alcohol, I used to smoke weed, I used to smoke tobacco, I used to be very enmeshed in the glamours of our world. And I really quite gracefully been able to release those in ways that were not painful. Other people have to go through very painful experiences to release those addictive cultural patterns. So I live on this beautiful piece of land here in Boulder, Colorado. We do a lot of ceremony here. We've had native elders and Mayan elders, and just, it's allowed us to maintain this kind of bliss bubble, but also sacred space, a sanctuary where people can come in. And it's all a blessing for me in my life, and I'm most grateful for that. So
Double Rainbow Ranch truly is a magical and sacred place, and a place that many of my friends have been, so blessed to be able to celebrate and to perform music. And I just want to thank you so much. I've already been thanking you so much, but I also want to thank you so much for being the steward of that land. And, the there's this magic I find too in language and words, right? Spelling and
Right.
the name. I would say your property is named very well, in that there's this rainbow energy there, and so I appreciate
Well,
you
we
for.
get beautiful rainbows, and the day that we moved in here, which was 23 years ago now, there was a big thunderstorm, and as it moved through, there were these incredible double rainbows that formed in the sky as we were unloading the moving truck, and so there it was, the Double Rainbow Ranch. Yeah.
I love hearing that story. I didn't know that about your property, but it's a great story and a great thing that I think many people may not know about
Right.
your little sacred slice of heaven you got over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I look forward to the day when we can all gather again and dance in the rain or underneath the rainbows in the sunshine or whatever
Right.
the weather may bring. And so I would love to. I'm like, I think I would love to just drop in with your sound, and I think we've got some time. I think we have time for you to go for even like 20 minutes if you want to do a 20
Okay.
minute. I'm not sure what you're prepared for or what you're feeling for today, but we do have.
Well, I thought it might be interesting to talk a little bit because the subject that will be in the workshop when we get there
Yeah.
in March, I was going to talk, or I will talk about Nada Brahma and Nada Yoga, and so it might be interesting just to give a little bit of explanation before we move into the
Yeah,
sound to
absolutely.
understand what that is. Because as I said before, we have these mental constructs in Western culture about music, and everyone loves music. They feel the power of the music, and rock and roll musicians really feel the lightning moving through their body when they're playing and exchanging that with their audience. But within a larger context, out of the definitions, that is vibration. And so Nada Brahma, or my friend Manoj, who's Nepali, says Nad Brahma, and he probably knows Sanskrit better than I do, so it may be Nad Brahma, but it's spelled Nada, like in Spanish, Nada. It's funny so in Nada it means, in Sanskrit, the Nada is the primordial vibration. And musicians have come to interpret that as sound or music, because they are all the same thing. Brahma, is the supreme creative force. So Nada Brahma is sound, is God, or music is God, or expanding that primordial vibrational pulse that is the sound, what Dahani used to call the original song of creation, is divinity, is that divine creative force that has created the sun and the stars and the moon and all consciousness. So that's what music is. And when we move into the chanting and the bowls that I will do in a bit, we're dropping into more of a sound field. It has musical qualities to it. It's tuned to pitches and their harmonic structures. But it's allowing us to expand into and return to that kind of primordial sound space from which all things were created. So that's the Nada Brahma part. Nada Yoga is, again, this is Sanskrit, so it's in the Vedas, are the practices, the yogic practices involved with nada, or that vibrational wisdom. They call it actually a science, a vibrational science. And things like the bija seed sounds, mantra practice, kirtan, different kinds of toning practices. These are all part of the Vedic studies of nada yoga. And even silence and dropping into it is part of the nada yoga. So so as we move into the sound, you know, the vibrational transmissions are non-verbal, they're non-mental, they're meant to work with us on the energetic sphere, giving us an intuitive, an ability to connect with our intuitive awareness of what is coming through this vibrational field. And as I referenced before, you know, if you listen to the different kinds of music and historically over time, you know, in Western culture, it's the same 12 notes. But you listen to Gregorian chant, you listen to even the classical music of Bach or Mozart or Beethoven, then you move into listening to the blues and rock and roll. They all have different messaging, they have different qualities, because those musicians were listening to the time of what is the message coming through this primordial universal music, you know, what we call the music of the spheres, the music of the universe. And they are receiving that and interpreting it into musical form. So, you know, Bach was just amazing, the way he heard the turning of the heavens and the machinery of the cosmos moving through, you know, particularly his organ music and his choral music are just like, whoa, you know, you're touching the heart of God. And the same thing that Led Zeppelin does, you know, Led Zeppelin was just hitting this pulse of, you know, passion and power that, you know, came into rock and roll. And then electronic dance music, to me, was also, that's a new edge. That is the new vibration coming through, transmitting this kind of transcendental, cosmic, you know, psychedelic awareness of moving into multidimensional realities and contacting and being in tapped with, which is what we have the ability to do now, is to remember our connection with those multidimensional realities. So that's a little bit on just Nada Brahma, that as we move into the vibrational field, we can tap into direct source and receive information from direct source. And Nada Yoga, which are these practices that we do that allow us to tap into that. So, how's that for a mouthful?
I love it. I love it. I noticed myself as you were speaking, I noticed myself actually go through this shift where I actually felt my awareness heighten, and I started to I became more in tune with the fabric and the it was like my own energy field and layers kind of, you know, when your hair sticks up on the back of your spine and you kind of get that like tingle, like, hello, it's, you know, wake up. I kind of felt that as you were just speaking about these things. And so it was an interesting shift, because obviously we're not singing or chanting or using bowls at this particular moment, but even just speaking, using language to talk about the concepts, it's like they're part of the field and the fabric, and, you know, they in themselves, just not a yoga and not a Brahma, they have the energy of what the word it means is kind of part of the fabric of just the title. And so I noticed that I'm very highly sensitive. And I know there's a lot of highly sensitive people in my audience and in my, you know, community. I seem to really have a lot of friends that do yoga and do sound healing and work in the healing arts. And so I know that that's common for my community to have these kind of Anastar calls them the full body yes, and the full body chill bumps, you know, when you get that yes. And so I just really appreciate that when I feel myself shifting, even just talking about what we're going to do later, you know, and talking about sound healing drops me into a greater sense of presence and awareness of the field. So, wow, isn't that incredible?
So, you know, what I'm reminded of there, coming back to your premise of manifesting our dream reality, you know, Tahani, just her teachings are very much that. Every vibration we create, every word we speak, because, you know, so in the Christian tradition, in the beginning was the word, and the word is vibration. You know, that Jonathan Goldman has a wonderful formula, and I've been friends with Jonathan for, again, 30 some odd years. Where does it all go? That vibration plus intention equals healing, because he was trying to understand, what does sound healing mean? And that's really his premise. I don't use the word sound healing a lot, but it is that fusion of our intention, which is our creative ability, fused with vibration, is what's manifesting the dream. So our words, our thoughts are also vibrational. All of this creates the world around us. And we get locked in these karmic cycles, these samsaric cycles of, oh, I'm bad, and my father told me I was horrible, and, you know, like, and I'm powerless. And, those, you know, the more we speak those, the more we reinforce that. And the more that we come into connecting with our brilliance and speaking of the possibilities, speaking of our dream, and realizing we are creating the dream as we speak, is beginning to recognize our power.
As you were speaking, I started thinking about sound being the vehicle and the intention being the driver. Mm-hmm. Of the vehicle, whether it be a boat or a plane or a car. You know, I'm sure there's some people might argue sounds more of a boat than a car or a plane. You know, it's like, whatever the vehicle may be, without the intention and that direction, the healing power of sound isn't in its full possible expression. Meaning, telling myself I'm using this particular experience of what I'm going into with sound to heal this blockage, disturbance in my energy field, whatever it may be, physical ailment, you know, wound. I have a track that I listen to that's specifically for lower extremity wound healing, you know. So just thinking to myself before I go into my sound session with the music, I'm consciously using this to target this ailment. That intention is so much of the power. And that's a really big piece of what we'll be diving deeper into in the series, is why do we need the intention piece? Not just with healing and sound, but with life, you know. When I was at Tikal, the Guatemalan ruin site that I went to with a group of 400 people. I led a festival there a couple of years ago on the winter solstice. We did a Mayan fire ceremony at Tikal on December 21st. That was one of the big messages that came to me when I was actually inside of the ruin. There was like, I got this powerful download, and it was spirit guided me to, it showed me very visibly, you know, in a very like clear way, what happens when I don't use intention versus what happens when I do. And it like had this really dramatic impact. And so now, you know, you mentioned like not smoking and not, you know, doing drinking alcohol. And I totally support, living the most healthy lifestyle that you possibly can. And so I think that's amazing that you've let go of, some of those substances. And my only recommendation is, if you are going to drink, a glass of wine or partake in any kind of substance use, my recommendation and kind of the message that also came through to me was, make sure that you're setting a clean and pure intention, because I do, believe in plant medicine and some mind altering substance use. I feel like can be very healing and very mind opening and something that's used in a positive way. But it is the intention with which you're entering into that experience that I find really shapes your ability to actually receive some sort of healing experience or powerful transformational experience, the manifestation of the dream, right? When using any kind of substance, right? So that's my one little mention there, is that's a really powerful thing, is to shape our intentions and go in with that positive focus. So yay, thank you so much.
Yeah. So shall we transition to getting out of our heads and into the vibrational field?
Yes, I would love that. I'm going to mute your
Okay.
mic while you transition back to behind the
Great.
bowls, and you just let me know when you're ready with the thumbs up,
Okay.
and I will turn your mic back on.
Great. Thank you.
So as Paul is transitioning back to the bowls, I invite you now to set your intention. What is it that your heart is calling you to right now? What is your dream reality? What is it that you're most wanting to manifest in your life right now? And how is the manifestation of your dream reality going to collectively influence our ability collectively to come into a greater sense of harmony with the earth, with ourselves, and with all that is this special time that we are in right now? Is a powerful moment. It's a powerful moment to reconnect and to reharmonize with yourself and with your dreams.
All right, beautiful. And so I'm just going to continue that with a little bit more induction. That is part of the diamond light work, which is remembering the diamond light in our hearts, the Vajra light, as the Tibetans call it. And so I invite you to bring your hands to your heart. Just take a moment to feel your hands and your heart center beginning to connect and resonate. And I'm talking not about the physical heart, but about the energy center of the heart that's in the center of the chest, the place of love and truth and courage. And to envision that heart center as an orb of light, a glowing ball of light like a full moon or a bright sun, radiating light and energy from the center of your being. And that orb of light is connected down through your root chakra to the heart of the earth, and up through your crown chakra into the stars and the heavens and infinite, the heart of the universe, and then out to the four directions lines horizontally. These are the axes of light, or the heart circuit as we call it, that connects your heart with all the hearts in creation. The Tibetans call it the jeweled fabric of the universe, of which every heart is an integral part. And just letting yourself envision yourself in this architecture, your heart aglow, connected into the fabric of creation. And then let yourself receive this vibrational offering and perceive on different intuitive levels of what you might be hearing or seeing or knowing that is coming through this primordial vibrational field. we are brave enough to see, there is always light. If we are brave enough to believe. Just taking a moment to observe how you feel when your heart is enlivened and connected and you have dropped into the primordial awareness of the sound field.
Wow. Thank you, Paul, so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
So much gratitude for the light. I actually noticed that the light is filtering into the room and even into the camera in a really bright way. It's like the light is kind of hitting me. And I really appreciate you coming on today to share this with my amazing community.
Yeah, well, thank you for sharing and inviting me. I'm most honored, and
I really, I'm always amazed at the shift. I can, I can feel it in a big way
Right.
before and after. The before, there's like the before, I'm kind of running around doing all this stuff today, and now there's now, and I can tell you right now, I think that this idea of like timeline shift, right? It's like I was going down one path, and something about dropping into this space of sound and meditation just completely, it redirects in a very mystical
Right.
and powerful way.
Yep.
So, Paul,
Yeah.
where can
I just
where,
say, yeah, it's a beautiful magic. It's a beautiful
yes,
magic.
it's a total magic. And I was going to say, where can, so I know you have a new album that's out, and I know you have some upcoming events on the radar. I'd love for you to share a little bit more with our audience about where people can find you and how they
Yeah.
can connect with you, because I know you have just a lot of beautiful offerings. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I have to wind it back into three-dimensional reality here.
I know.
Um, so, yeah, the best place to keep connected with the Diamond Light offerings, and most of the work that I'm doing now is offering these teachings of the Diamond Light in our hearts. Much of that happens through these sonic offerings, the magic of the Tibetan bowls, which are from an ancient Himalayan healing practice, and the Vajrayana chanting that I was doing there. Um, so the Diamond Light Network has a Facebook group. I do a number of free offerings every week on Facebook Live through that Diamond Light Network Facebook group. And there's also a website, diamondlightnetwork.com, that you can. There's a lot of information there. There are videos and audio instructions and different practices, and as well as the events. Um, and I actually have a new series starting. It's a Zoom series starting on Sunday called Heart Light Magic. Which are teachings. It's 4 Sundays, the 4 Sundays in February in the afternoon from 2 to 5 Mountain Time. And we will be doing meditation practices, sound meditations, chanting practices, but also some guided instruction in the heart circuit meditation, which we did just a real brief tap into there. And then working on developing some skills like intuitive awareness, connecting with our own guidance, doing a little bit of telepathic work. Because I believe that as the heart awakens and activates these skills, in the Vedas they're called the siddhis or attainments, but like intuitive awareness, telepathic connections, sensitivity to subtle energies begin to develop. So that series, it's called Heart Like Magic. There is a post about that on both the website and the Facebook group. There's another Facebook page called RadianceMatrix, which I think is what Brielle has up there. RadianceMatrix is the name of the music project with the bowls and the chanting. It's all really the same thing. That page just is older and has a lot more traffic on it, so that's one that actually a lot of the activity happens through. And yes, I just released a new album. It's called Dreaming, and it is music for journeying into the dream realm, remembering to manifest the dream. There's a piece on it called The Dream Weavers. We are the Dream Weavers. And it's on Spotify and Apple Music and all those good places. There's a link on the Diamond Light and the Radiance Matrix pages to do direct download of the tracks from Bandcamp. But if you want to stream it, it's under Paul Temple's Radiance Matrix. is the artist name on Spotify. And it was released on Tuesday and is out to the world to enhance your dreaming. So I will be appearing in Brielle's wonderful program in March. Anything else that I'm forgetting that you're remembering?
I am just, it's super mystical to me that I invited you to do this series and asked you all these questions about dreaming today, and your new album is called Dreaming. And I did not know that when I named the series or invited you to come on. But I find that this is one of the little breadcrumbs. You know, there's this idea that the universe is leaving breadcrumbs for us that kind of help us to understand that we're on the right path. And that, you know, and I find that to me, hearing that your newest album was called Dreaming, it was a massive breadcrumb to, you know, reminding me and kind of confirming for me, hey, this is exactly where you're supposed to be. This is exactly what you're supposed to be doing right now. And it feels so good to be living in that alignment. And I wanted to share that because that is what I found working and doing a lot of this practice in sound and breath and looking at who am I and what am I here to do, and really trying to live in that space of alignment and manifestation magic. That's one of the greatest benefits to working and doing this work, is you will notice a greater level of synchronicity and heart light magic, you know, really, because when you're working from here, your heart, the magic unfolds in this very mysteriously mystical and synchronistic way. And so I really appreciate that. And I'm just so excited for what the future holds for us, Paul. I'm so blessed to be, you know, weaving with you once again. So thank you so much for everything over the years. And I find so much of my life is coming full circle right now. So, and you're one of the pieces of that.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yes, it feels very auspicious and synchronistic that we have woven, our paths have crossed again. That process you speak of the heart, you know, in my understanding of this awakening of the heart, is the more that we engage with our heart reality, you know, in our soul level activation. So within the heart is our own Akashic memory. And within the Akashic memory is who you are becoming, what your soul purpose is in this life. So as we drop into heart space and awakening the heart, that begins to magnetize and attract, working with understanding the law of attraction from the heart and from the soul level, these connections that will manifest on the soul level Akashic, you know, vibration. Otherwise, when we're operating from head, when we're operating from pain, when we're operating from trauma response, that's what we're magnetizing and attracting. And so again, dropping into heart space, activating, awakening that heart center allows our authentic amplification, magnetization of our soul level reality.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I look forward to weaving with you more very soon.
Yeah, thank you.
Stay tuned,
thank you to everyone
everybody
out there for joining in, the good vibrations. And
next week, we will have Brigitte Mars on for our third interview. Brigitte is a world-renowned herbalist and healer. She has 13 books on herbal medicine, and she will be joining us for not just 1, but 2 weeks of the upcoming Manifesting Our Dream Reality series. So you don't want to miss that. Check it out. It's going to be on Thursday at 11 a.m. Mountain Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Time. So that's our next live stream interview next Thursday, the 11th. And it is also a new moon that day. So check it out, everyone. Make sure to tune in for that. And I look forward to going on this journey and manifestation magic unfolding here again with each and every one of you very soon. Blessings and live in bliss today.